So in this video I'm going to show you some interesting gems that I found when I downloaded some images from NASA and opened up in Photoshop and played with levels. So this is the original, and this is what happened when I was messing around with levels, which you will see as you watch the video. What I discovered here is that this right here that you see in this image, what that is a mesh. In other words, this is a backdrop, and it's printed on the canvas, and then it was the whole image was put together with parts of images from somewhere else. So that's one, and the other image I downloaded from NASA was this one, and what I discovered is this is the original, and this is the one that I messed around with levels, and I found this hidden feature. Yeah, this is the download, and this is after I played with its levels, which you will see how I did that later on in this video. And I also see a small resemblance of a mesh here going horizontally and vertically. My guess that this whole area is a backdrop, and this area, I could say it's a shadow from the astronaut against the backdrop, but I'm not certain about that. It looks more like a sloppy cutout using Photoshop and then just pasting it onto this image here. You will see how that could be done in Photoshop later on in this video. Let's go to NASA's website, nasa.gov here. Once you get to their website, you can go to their galleries, image galleries, and then if you go to their official Flickr, go to their Flickr, go to their albums, and we're gonna go down to check out a specific album. Yeah, The World from Space. So let's look at this album here. So I was just hanging out here, and let me see, this is their little pop-up here. So I was just curious about some of these shots, and I started with this shot, so I'm going to click on this. I've been a photographer for over 20 years, and my Photoshop experience is just as extensive, and so it's really easy for me to identify something that's not right. Meaning I could identify whether the image is photoshopped or if it's put together somehow. So according to NASA here, it says that this image was taken on December 13th, 1972. Now they allow you to download it right here, and we're just going to download the largest size, the original one here. So here it is, downloading right here in my left corner. Show in Finder, open with. So here it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make duplicate layers. I'm going to hide. I'm going to bring up the levels. I'm going to play with the levels and just watch what happens. Okay. So this is what brought curiosity to me was this cutout right here. See this? Okay, so this could either be a a shadow from this astronaut, and this right here, this whole thing is just a backdrop. It's not space. Okay. I don't know if this is a shadow. It sure does look like it. Or it can, sorry about that. Just astronaut could have been just cut out from a different image and pasted onto here out of like a image with the black background, and shop guy was pretty lazy in how he was cutting it out. But I'm convinced that this right here, this whole area with the flag and the little earth right here, this is just a backdrop. When you kind of zoom out, you can kind of see that there's a mesh going on, you know, this way, horizontally and vertically. You see that? Okay, when you take a picture of space, you don't get mesh like that, okay? When you zoom in, it's all pixelated, so you can't really see if that's a backdrop. You can't see the fibers from the canvas all that much. Well, you can't see fibers at all. All you could see is that there's some kind of a mesh thing going on. Okay, now this right here could have been a cutout, just something like this. Someone just cuts it out. You know, sloppy job. Boom. Copy. So someone could have done something like this, for example. And so if you had, and let's cut out just the flag. Let's hide that layer. Let's just cut out the flag. Let's cut out this portion here. Let's say this was a backdrop. Let's just see what happens when we play with it. Okay, so here we have two separate images. Okay. Now let's say the Photoshop guy had two separate images that he had to put together. We also need, so let's say he had this background here, and you know, I can't prove, I can tell you what it looks like. It looks like 100% this astronaut was cut out of a different image using Photoshop, or he was literally standing right there in front of a backdrop, and this is where we got this weird shadow from. Okay, so let's give it a background. Let's do black, and levels. Let's get this astronaut to fit into this background. Okay, so we just pretty much photoshopped it back to make it look like before, except now we know it's Photoshop. Now what I'm gonna do is see, it's separate layers, the black. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna merge. Okay, so I just merged it. So this image right here is the one that I was just messing with. Let's overexpose this image with levels and see what we get. Boom. You see, where I was doing the cutting, you get the same exact results that the other Photoshop guy was doing when he was doing the cutting. When you overexpose, you get stuff like this happening. So someone who knows Photoshop and knows photography, it's very simple to understand. Maybe to a person that has no experience or doesn't know anything about photography or Photoshop, they don't really know what this is. But as you saw me cutting stuff out, you can see how something like this, how you end up with the image like this. pretty much I created something similar right here, and how it's exposed by simply taking the original image and just messing with the levels. It just shows you what's actually behind scenes, behind the work. Okay. Now there is a way to avoid, this kind of getting caught like this. You simply cut it out along the lines, perfectly. You cut out the flag perfectly. You cut out the astronaut perfectly. You cut out the Earth perfectly, and then you pretty much throw it on the flat, dark background created with Photoshop. But then if you do that, you won't have any pixels at all. I mean, not pixels like this. So it was interesting how you could see this mesh a little bit. So let's go grab another image from here. Let's go back to album here. The other image I want to grab is this one right here. Let's take a look at this image. So you can read all the fancy stuff that NASA says about this image. This view of the rising Earth greeting the Apollo 8 astronauts on December 24th, 1968, as they came from behind the moon after the fourth near-side orbit. Okay, so taken on December 24th, 1968. So supposedly this image is from 1968. Let's download it. Download the original. Here it is on my left corner, downloading. So you could do this yourself. You can see the URL here. If you're curious to see what I'm doing, I'm not making it up. You can go try it yourself. Okay, let's show this, open it with Photoshop. So here's this other image that we just opened up in Photoshop. Let's bring up the levels and let's reveal what's underneath. Alright. So in the other image, it was really hard to see the fibers of the actual canvas. Okay. In this one, there's fibers here going across, going horizontally and vertically. And this right here is simply printed on a canvas, and they just took a picture of it. Alright, so this is not an original shot. Even if they have a shot like this that's original, I don't understand why they would create a fake one. This is 100% fake shot. It was not taken on December 24th, 1968. Okay. This shot right here is created in Photoshop. Okay. If you ask me, there's no other way you can. Let's do it again. There's no other way you're going to achieve a mesh like this when you're shooting into darkness. Okay. I mean, if you understand, what levels are and overexposure photography is, it pretty much, no matter what you shoot in the dark, if you overexpose it, there's still information that's being captured. And the information in darkness that's being captured, it could be revealed by playing with levels or exposure. And that's what we're doing here. And we're able to see what the darkness actually is. And it's showing us that whatever's in the dark here, it's being revealed that, slowly you can see there's this mesh going on. And to me, it looks like a canvas. So pretty much the space, the black space and the earth is on top of a canvas. And the moon isn't. That's what it looks like. And then they say it was taken in 1968. Is that what was said? Anyways, here's another interesting part as far as canvases go, which is the next thing I'm going to show you. Style. And let's go to patterns. So look at that. There's this pattern in Photoshop that simulates kind of the same looking mesh that you saw there. Let's open that. Let's just create some kind of let's apply that pattern to this. So there we have it. Okay, let's see if it's somewhat the same size or not. Pretty close. I mean, I don't think that image it's a pattern from Photoshop, because I don't see why they would use a Photoshop pattern to throw behind here. I really do. I am convinced that is just canvas, just a backdrop printed on a canvas. That's what it is. So I just wanted to share this interesting find, and just makes me wonder why, you know, NASA would create fake images and tell people that they were taken in 1968 on December 24th. I mean, they have the exact date when this was taken. And I could tell you that it wasn't taken from space. It was taken in a studio, and that right there is a backdrop that you wouldn't know that it's a backdrop unless you bring up the levels in Photoshop. Well, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed it. Think what you want, do what you want.